So help me God. And Jerome didn't raise his hand, but he's over there going, he's not even denying the fact that he likes a new shirt.
Yes,
All of our emotions come from fear or love. They do. Jesus did everything from love, and we're supposed to be imitating him. This really struck me this week. That's why we're doing the full refining thing. Because when I talked to Tanya on Thursday, and I mean, because I was stressed. I even talked to her about it last night when we were walking around praying. Some of this stuff stressed me. It's like, why does this bother me so much? So I really got before the Lord in the middle of the night. She said, okay, so what's up? And on Thursday when she said, I realized who I am, she got a new confidence in the Spirit when they were on vacation. And the two of them heard together, flowed together without it being, well, have you heard from God yet? What about this? You know, which can happen, as you know. But they heard and flowed together, and they know their calling, and it's established in them. It's firm. They know what they're doing. They don't know the details. They don't know next steps. They don't know when. They don't know any of that, but they know. And then when I was praying last night and talking to the Lord and realizing that I've been praying for the Philippines since 1984. And they're going. It was just overwhelming to me, the goodness of God. And Michaela likes it. Isn't it awesome, Michaela? I love the Philippines. So it really struck me this week. We've been talking a lot about warfare. Others, not so much. And a lot of warfare comes out of fear. I've walked in this often. You know, it's like, oh, look what the enemy did. Oh. And it becomes a fear-based prayer. Not faith-based, fear-based. I've asked you often to fall in love with someone when you pray for them. You know, if someone irritates me, I have to consciously make myself love them so that I can pray for them. It is a conscious effort, and sometimes it takes me a while. I'll be honest about it. Sometimes it's hard to pray for people. What you want to do is just slap them down. You know, and let's talk about, I've told you before, I don't know if you guys know who Carmen is. He was huge in the 70s, and then, I mean, he's made movies and made Christian music and made movies and produced stuff and all this, and then he got cancer really bad, and I guess he's being healed now. But he wrote a song. He was New York tough. He's Italian, New York streets. Okay, so he got saved with David Wilkerson's ministry and Nicky Cruz on the streets, one of the gangs, right? So he got saved, and he's all excited, and he's in McDonald's, and this guy ticks him off, and he dukes him down. And he said, and he wrote a song about it. He goes, as soon as I did, I heard God say it's really hard to witness to someone all stretched out on the floor. And that's his song, right? And I often think about that when I'm trying to love someone so that I can make intercession for them. When I'm making intercession for someone, I have to have a love for them. I do the same thing now. We have all our countries, and you know, where I'm putting sticky notes on them with our names and stuff. But I do that same thing when I pray for a country. It's one of the reasons God has moved me so many times to pray for different peoples. I was in Lawton one time. The last time I was there, I was out in the hill. I mean, their mountains are like the side of that little hill across the road. And I was out there on this rock pile with the tarantulas, overlooking Lawton, talking to God. And I said, why do you keep bringing me here? And he said, because you love my people. And you love the land. And it was just such a thing in my heart. And I thought, how much have I prayed for these people? And I did love them. I did love their land. You know, it's not a pretty place. It's the Dust Bowl. The wind blows every single day. And if there is no wind, you better get out on your porch and look, because it means a tornado's coming. Rains wind blows all the time. When it rains, it is not unusual for it to rain red mud. I cannot tell you how many times I have scraped mud off my car because we had a shower.
It's great. I love Oklahoma.
I do. I moved there 4 times. I lived there like 12 years. I love it. It's just real different. Thank you, Jesus, that I'm on an island. But I fell in love with Guam before we came. And the Lord told me we were going to move. The Lord told me all that. And I knew it was an island. I just began to pray for whatever people group it was that I could love them. And I love Guam, and I've loved Guam since before I came. Some of you had more trouble with that than I did. But a lot of my warfare has come out of fear, and I admit that, and I walk in it a lot. But when we fall in love with a country, or a people group, or a city, or a state, or a nation, when we do that, it allows us to pray effectively. I want us to love like Jesus loved. I want us to walk in and imitate Christ and the love that he had from us and from mankind. And so many times we love people as long as they don't bother us or get in our way or do something that irritates us. I mean, I can love you just fine as long as you don't like step on my toes or something, push me out of the way, whatever. And then I have to think about it. I don't. But when I'm driving, I do. I'll use that for an example. I'll just be totally transparent here. So, for instance, today I had to go buy gas this morning when I got my Diet Coke. I didn't have enough gas to go get a Diet Coke, so I had to go straight up the hill to the gas station, right? So I go up the hill, and I'm coming back down. And I'm in a rush, because I was up in the middle of the night, and I went back to bed for an hour, and it's, not as early as I'm usually up on Sunday mornings, and I was tired, so now I'm coming down the hill, and I'm kind of in a rush. I haven't even had coffee. And the guy in front of me is driving under 10 miles an hour for the entire road. I considered passing him, though there is no passing zone, I did consider it. And then he moves over here, goes off, and then his tire hits the grass, and then he comes back over here, and then he hits a little over in the middle, and he goes back over there, and then he hits the grass, and it scares him every time, so then he has to step on his brake and go under 5. And then when he gets to the top of the hill up here, where you're going to go down, when it curves, well, that's apparently a frightening experience for this gentleman. He's driving a big Dakota truck. It's not like he's driving some little bitty car or something. He's driving this big Dakota truck. So he slams on his brakes. And now we're going to attempt the hill. And I'm back here, because I refuse to allow the joy of the Lord to be stolen from me this morning. But mister, you have no idea how you are just pushing me right on the edge of that. And he starts down the hill, and he apparently doesn't know that if you turn the wheel, that your car will go with it. So he's like, trying to get around this curve. Man, this guy is so stoned. And then a car's coming up. And as soon as I saw the car coming, I thought, oh my God, he's going to panic. I better stop. And he did. He stopped till the car went around him. Little bitty car. I mean, he was in his own lane. But this guy had a total panic. And we get down to the bottom of the hill finally, and I thought, thank you, Jesus, that is my joy. And I lived. And I thought, that is one of the few things in life that will set me off. I lose every bit of love in that. I didn't lose it this morning. Hallelujah. But I was tempted. But I just prayed for the guy. I thought, he's either so stoned, or he's just not used to driving a big truck, and he's scared to death. And he shouldn't be on this road. He shouldn't be on any road. But we have to allow love to be the basis for our prayers. Doesn't mean that when something happens, we don't come to attention. But we can't allow fear to draw us here, draw us here, draw us here, draw us here. We're not firefighters in the spirit. We're the army of God. We're the army of God, and we walk in preparation. So, I want this love of Christ to permeate our souls. None of us would ever knowingly worship the devil or honor him, would you? I mean, I have, but I've been delivered, right? So none of us would just say, you know what, I think I'll worship Satan today, I'll get back to God tomorrow. That's just not our life. That's not who we are. None of us. I don't know, a couple of you are thinking about it over there. Okay, just checking. And yet, look at how much negative press there was this week for the devil. He was exalted in Facebook, in phone chats, in Skype. He was exalted over and over and over. And you know what? He doesn't care if he gets negative press. As long as he gets press. He doesn't care. And so, when I say, you know, Christians, when I'm talking about press, I'm talking about Christians giving him glory, giving him honor, exalting him this week. I heard a lot more about the devil and what he was doing this week than I did about God. The other thing we do, and yes, I've done this often, is we make it all about us. It isn't. We want to look good. We do. I heard a lot of that this week. Oh, I had this happen, or I said this, and I saw this, and I this, and I that, and I that. Really, what did God say? So, we all want to look good, but it's not about us looking good. There's a balance between warfare and love and warfare and fear. Fear is a tool of the enemy. Satan wants attention, and he does not care how he gets it. It is our job to walk in what we know and to teach that as gently as possible, which is a key point for me. That's from, I'm preaching to me right here. As gently as possible when we see the error, to correct as gently as possible. Bring them back to God. Bring them back to God. Bring them back to the love of God. Tanya and I walked through the center last night of the pavilions for the different islands. They don't even have all the signs up yet, so we don't know which ones were. But every one of them, I thought, oh, that was one of my intercessions 30 years ago. Oh, I prayed for there. I feel like I'm going to go to that one. And I never even heard of that one, you know. And as we walked through, I felt myself falling in love with each one of those people groups. Each one of those islands. When we see this, we need to point the way back to the Word. When we see the error, when we see the exaltation of or fires and making it about us and giving glory to the enemy, we need to bring people back. We cannot afford to join their talk. We cannot afford to join in, partner with them in their fear. We are doing them a disservice. It's not about them. It's not about Satan. Moving in any of those directions removes the power of the prayers already prayed and allows our answers to be stolen. It's about the love of God that came to redeem the world. God has called us to a place of strength. Rediscover that time of walking in the cool of the evening with God and the intimacy that was acquired here. War is more than war. War is just shifting in the heavenlies. It's a different arena of worship that brings a fallen man to the throne of God for redemption.